All right, we are back with another episode of Nine and Numb at Home. How is everybody doing?
Great.
Yeah.
I can be seen. It's awesome.
Yes. Hooper is with us again, and he can be seen.
Hooper's happy that he can be seen. The rest of us, we're still trying to decide.
He's no longer in the secret bat cave where he's hiding from the 5G towers.
I could not keep up the payments, so no.
Those missile silos, they just cost so much.
I know.
True.
It's just crazy. So anyway, so what are we on here? Is this episode 3?
3.
I think is what we're calling it? Yeah. We just got done doing a very special episode with the cast of the Rocky Horror Picture Show live up at Grand Forks, North Dakota. We did that this past weekend here, and that's up on YouTube right now. If you take a look after you're done watching this episode, please. But then catch that one, and you can see some of the shenanigans that went on with that group. We're going to be doing more of those special episodes as time goes on here. We'll be keeping up with this cast, but then I'm also going to be talking with, hopefully, previous casts of Nine and Numb, going all the way back in our 20-year history to 2000. If we can get as many of the old schoolers as we can and have special episodes of that. So keep your eyes open for that. But tonight, we're just hanging out here. We're talking improv. We're going to talk about what we've been up to, what we plan on doing now that the country is semi-open again, I guess. I don't know if you want to call it fully open at all, because I think some places are at level or at phase 2, some are at 1. Other states never closed in the first place, so they're at phase open, more or less. So I'll ask you guys this, just generally speaking, what are you going to do when everything's finally opening? What's the first thing you want to do when you get out?
I'm going to Disney World.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You won the Super Bowl?
No, but I have annual pass.
What are they doing with annual passes right now anyway? Because they took, 2-3 months off damn near.
Yeah, well, thankfully they didn't take the money on my account for those months.
Really?
And they're going to add those months on.
Just kind of tack them onto the end?
My balance, right,
At
yes.
the back end.
Yes.
Okay.
As usual, Disney giving it to you on the back end.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Oh,
Uncle Mickey, open your wallet.
here it comes.
Here we go.
Oh,
Nice. Doing the goofy noise with it.
gosh.
Anybody else? What do you guys plan on doing other than Disney World? What are you looking forward to the most when this is finally?
I'm planning on being on a vineyard somewhere and coming back whenever I feel like it.
You're gonna basically go into hiding like a Don from a mafia family.
Yeah.
Okay.
A vineyard.
In
Some
particular.
things have been done that can't be undone.
It's going to be Michael Corleone.
I think it's going to be a long time though before you could do that, because aren't most of the vineyards in California right now?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
We've got a few around here.
Oh yeah, there's one on I-4, isn't there, between Tampa and
Yeah,
Orlando?
there's one there. There's a couple. There's actually one in Tarpon Springs, believe it or
Really?
not. But,
Ooh.
yeah.
Tarpon
Wine.
being north of Tampa.
Well, west and
yeah.
north. Yeah,
Northwest,
it's on
yeah.
the coast.
Okay, I'm just saying that for our viewers who don't.
Pinellas, just south of Pasco.
Okay, that's cool. So a vineyard for Louisa. You got any particular kind of wine you want to make, or are you just going to hang out there? No
You
work.
just stomp grapes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Lucy style.
Just live the life, go into hiding, reds, whites, whatever.
Living
Okay,
La
I don't
Vida
know.
Vino.
What?
I love how a pandemic ends and you're just like gonna all of a sudden own land that you can just leisure about on. Like that's just how it works.
Well, she
I'm
it during the
smart.
pandemic.
It's gonna lurk among the grapes.
Are you going to be
among the grapes?
She's a
Gonna find a
vineyard
nice little
squatter.
co-op somewhere.
Squatters' rights.
Are you going to be living La Vida Vino?
They call that prescriptive possession in the law. Prescriptive easement.
Mm.
Yeah.
Open and notorious possession for a certain length of
I
time.
was thinking you should go now and get squatters' rights.
Yeah.
Stomper's right.
Stompers' rights. It's all
Stompers'
squeezers.
Yeah.
You're a squeezer. You're not even a squatter. You're a squeezer.
Stomper.
Nice. James, what are you going to do? Are you going to go back to doing exactly what you're doing now, or?
Pretty much. Like, the only thing that's going to change is that I'm going to play D&D live in person, you know?
Instead of online.
Well, actually, I tried doing the online stuff, and it didn't work out with my groups. So I taught my roommates how to play D&D. They've got nowhere to go.
And how did
means
that go? So you had a captive audience.
Yeah. I also got them to play Twilight Imperium. So
Really?
these are the things you can't leave.
That's true. I was going to say, Twilight Imperium, that game can take 5-6 hours.
It can take 3 days.
Yeah,
and
that's
then no
true.
one likes you after.
Wow.
I didn't even know you had Twilight Imperium.
I bought it because of the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
We gotta get
imagining-
together. Dude, we should all get together and play Twilight Imperium sometime.
Okay, no. Some of us should get together and play Twilight Imperium. Some of you, this just isn't a game made for you.
I'll tag
a game
in Andrew.
Like, Eric would love
Yes.
this game. Eric is a high cognition nerd who's got 10 hours to spend thinking about global political strategy, well, universal global political strategy or whatever, okay? I don't think everyone will like it. It's like Risk, but more complicated. And people don't like Risk. I love Risk. But the people who don't like
Risk is like for 4-year-olds.
It is kind of easy once you get over it. But
yeah.
But Twilight Imperium is amazing. But it's an investment in time.
Have you guys ever played?
Andrew would love it.
I think he's played it before.
He may have it.
Have you guys ever played a game called Fiasco?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
With
is
you,
the,
maybe.
Yes, that is the kind of game that I think an improv troupe should be playing, because you're acting out scenes as characters that are given to you at the beginning of the game, and you're trying to make a movie, a revenge movie, I guess is what it's called. And
I think they have different themes for different.
Yeah, they're different ones.
Like
Okay.
the one I played was some kind of martial arts thing.
Oh
I remember
God,
that I
really?
Was, I was Sensei Donovan. He was the outlet mall karate instructor who just beat the shit out of kids all the time, and the other guys were like the kids who had grown up for revenge.
Wasn't it, Kelly, when we played
We
it?
did it
like
at
we were like the
Western.
chicken, like it was the chicken restaurant.
Yes, I was the owner of a chicken chain, and people were after me for my money or something.
Right. We played that with Gustafson.
We did a long time ago.
I did
Speaking of
not.
whom,
Yeah, John
I
Gustafson.
had a
it was
Gustafson sighting.
really?
Oh,
Yes. Barry Silver called me up and asked me to audition for Kids Speak, Carrollwood. We're doing the sort of virtual reading. Kids write the plays,
right.
and then they're performed by adults. And so at the auditions, because it was virtual, Gustafson auditioned and is going to be doing it.
Oh,
Yeah, so I saw him on the Zoom audition.
I'll be damned.
And all the way from Wisconsin, I think, is where
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
it was awesome.
Wow, John Gustafson, of course, for our viewers here, is a former member of Nine and Numb that was with us in the original Tampa iteration from
Me and Eric.
2011. What's that, John?
It was me and Eric. We were in the same group with the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's one of
And
our
Angel.
former players. Yeah, and Angel.
Angel was there.
She was.
I think
With and without the kid.
Looking forward to seeing that come to fruition. Then that'll be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sarah, you just gonna get back to doing work in the old studio, or
Don't re-injure your arm.
Clothes.
what'd you say?
I might fold my clothes.
You might
Ah.
fold. That's gonna be it, huh? Just kind of still
Why?
hanging.
Why start?
I figure it's a new day. You know, that's the time to start. New dawn. We all have to go out in the world.
There you go.
Might as well fold one
Oh.
T-shirt.
I didn't realize it was a sequel.
When you said clothes, all I heard was clothes, and my eyes kind of went wide. I was like, "You're gonna be a stripper when this is over?" Or what? That was
No,
kind
I
of.
retired.
You retired. Come on. Some of us
She's-
never
she's-
retire.
She's
Getting
getting a little
retired.
old for the stripper.
Oh,
bracket.
yeah,
You
20,
know, what are
whatever.
you, 22 now? So
Just when you think you're out, they pull you back in.
Oh.
She retired. She hung up those old titties and retired.
Those,
Yeah,
I'm
I
the-
see they're gone.
I'm the pace these
Bye.
up. Just don't
Just
re-injure
try not
your
to do the
arm. That's
Rocky
all we
Horror
ask.
cast.
Yeah.
Don't hurt
Anyway.
yourself.
Well, I can't wait till we can get started. And I've got a great announcement for our viewers right now. We have found our date for our live show. It's going to be on June 12th, 2020, live on Facebook and YouTube live as well through this platform, Zoom. Going to be at 8 p.m. We'll have the Facebook event set up very soon. You guys can see that. We'll be taking live suggestions from the audience, doing some improv and what have you, and I'm really excited to get that going. But we got to start looking forward to coming back on stage in front of people. What do you think is the future for doing improv with crowds in a post-COVID world, or a post-lockdown COVID world, if you will?
Drive-in.
The audience will be.
Yeah, have you seen
We'll have
the
Matt suit.
drive-in live shows or whatever? I think they're going to try and do like drive-in festivals is what some places have done already.
Really?
Yeah,
For
so we're
music?
at Improv. Everybody tunes into the little radio station. You can see them up there on the stage.
Interesting.
Running around.
Interesting.
It's
Maybe
funny. I
everybody
was
gets
thinking
a
about
bullhorn
that.
and shouts out
Like
something.
during this whole thing, those of us of a certain age remember when drive-in movies were an actual thing.
Yeah.
You could actually
I
go
went.
drive in, and when I was a kid, that was, I mean, hell, we'd go all the time to the drive-in movies.
You went to
You know,
I
most
went
of those.
on Friday.
Huh?
Ooh,
I
You
went
went
on Friday.
what'd
What'd
you
you
see?
see?
Yeah.
Where?
Funland. Or where'd you
Where's that?
go?
I went to Silver Moon in Lakeland.
Oh, no,
And-
Lakeland.
We saw Goonies.
Nice.
Cool.
I didn't even
Yeah.
know there were any drive-ins left outside of West Virginia.
Yeah,
It
there's
was
one
so
actually
fun.
down here in Apollo Beach too.
Yeah.
They were so nice, and it was great.
Wow. I know that some places had actually reopened drive-ins within the last 10 years.
Right. Well, that's what I was thinking. Is I'm like, are we going to see a resurgence of the drive-in movie? And like Sarah
love 'em.
mentions, maybe drive-in other forms of entertainment at
That's
this
interesting
point.
to think about that, doing an outdoor improv concert with people in their cars. Although I don't think that they need to be in their cars to watch improv. I think they could probably, if you're outdoors like that, you can stay more than 6 feet away from each other.
No. I need a car to keep between me and those people, please.
What's really going to be hard is when
The unwashed masses.
what's really going to be hard is us performing in our cars.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think we just get like the stickers like and make our cars like Lightning McQueen and Mater and
There you go.
give personalities to our cars and then drive them around.
Do little bumper cars, Mario Kart style, just on stage.
Nice.
Dibs on the turtle shells.
I don't know. I think after like a few months, people are just going to get over it slowly. You know, I mean, it can't last forever. There have been other pandemics, so
Yeah.
you know they end.
Obviously, eventually, you know, something will happen. Whether it's good or bad, we don't know at this point. But something will happen. Either a whole bunch of people will die off and the rest will be immune, or it'll mutate. And but I mean, I think Kelly's more talking about the short term here. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
eventually things will go back. Well, not necessarily go back, but there'll be, you know, there'll be another issue to worry about. But
I think what'll be the short term is that when we do a show and fewer than expected people show up, we won't feel as bad about ourselves.
Yeah.
We'll have an excuse.
No,
Well,
guys.
they-
I never
they
felt
got
bad
it.
about myself. I felt bad about
I
you.
got it.
What have you got
There's
here?
a max
Darth
of
Vader
20.
masks for everyone.
Masks for the audience.
No, Darth Vader masks.
Ah.
Can you
Everyone
imagine?
gets to release their inner.
Can you imagine standing on stage and we're getting ready to play a game and all we hear out in the audience is like a few dozen. Like everybody's on a respirator, an oxygen tank or something, and they're all just,
I figure they're all
Maybe
Be like
we
doing
get
from
a
the
Dark
Sunday
Helmet one for
matinee
you.
at Community Theater.
yeah.
If it's all Darth Vader masks, they're all saying my name.
Nice.
My
We were having
ex-girlfriend
this-
pointed that out.
we were having this discussion in the last episode with the Rocky Horror Cast about what the future of live theater is going to be like. And apparently one of the theaters up there is talking about still doing the play that they had planned for August, but everybody's on stage is going to be wearing masks and gloves.
Oh.
How the hell are you going to pull that off? Maybe I heard him wrong. I mean, I'll have to rewatch the episode to find out exactly what was said there. But
I mean,
Well,
if you're
maybe
doing
the-
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you might get away with it.
If you do MASH, maybe.
If they were to
Can
paint
they
or
do-
print a mouth on the mask.
yeah,
And they
Different
do like
expressions.
just do the show, and like, you know, the actors are obviously like it's a smaller group. They're around each other obviously, but then they just like kind of televise that because Corey is doing like a fight in July, and he's still doing it and everything. They're just like broadcasting it like on YouTube, like how we're doing with our stuff, you know. So
Yeah,
I mean,
well, if you can test the entire population that's going to be together, and this is what major sports leagues are talking about doing now, of course, is getting a sort of captive population together, not letting them mix with others and being able to test them on a regular basis, then you can kind of keep the integrity of the population. But so obviously with a smaller group, that would be easier, I would think. So, you know, a cast of 7 or something, that would be easier to do. But it also means quarantining them away from everybody else and getting the testing.
But that's also
we're
like,
not really doing that because, I mean, think about it. The mall is open. I'm going to work. Like, only thing that we're doing is like taking temperatures and seeing how we're feeling every day, and we're wearing masks and we're sanitizing the crap out of the space, and like, you know, minimal people in there. But like, I'm not getting a COVID test every day to go to work, and
Right.
you know, nor are nurses or people who work in, you know, restaurants who are still doing deliveries and stuff like that. It's like there's still a risk no matter what. You just try to do what you can to feel like safe about it.
Yeah.
So it's the illusion of security is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Just like airports.
just like life is an illusion of safety and security wherever you go at any moment. Right now, this huge Batman behind me could fall on me and I could suffocate. I don't know.
And when it does, there'll be a
think it's
big
heavy
pow
enough.
above your head.
Yeah. You'd be shocked at how fast I could die by something as stupid as that. And I know I would be too for a couple of seconds. So yeah, that's interesting. How we're gonna, you know, try and reopen other stuff, because I know we've seen plans on how to get retail back. We've seen plans on how to get, you know, even government offices back, public spaces coming back, etc. But the last piece of the puzzle for me, I think, is gatherings like theater, especially theater, because sports you've got in some, like baseball, some venues, baseball and what have you, are all wide open outside area. So that's pretty easy to do. Not easy, but fairly easier to do than a theater where it's, you know, the building was built in, you know, 1919, let's say, and you've only got 400 seats cramped into this 1920s design space that's got nooks and crannies for anything to hide in and what have you. That's going to be really tough, I think, to try and get us all back together in those spaces again, so that we can all watch shows. And then in an improv setting, it's even worse, because a regular play, nobody's talking in the audience, whereas in an improv show, we're talking with the audience and they're all covered up. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a tremendous opportunity for artists to figure out how to do that. Like, I think it's going to be a tremendous kind of growth within the theater and the theater community. Already there are playwrights who are writing new plays for digital platforms. Already in theater education, I'm a drama teacher. Already in theater education, you've got people like Don Zolaitis, who writes for like high school kids, that's writing specifically Zoom plays to be performed in case kids can't go to festivals in the fall.
Well, that makes it a lot easier too, because you can't do like a Neil Simon play or something and then perform it for an audience to watch over the internet. That's a completely different set of licensing.
Yep.
You have to get the
And
license
so
not only to
it's
perform it.
interesting what is already being done and already kind of being experimented with in order to change the art form. One thing I am kind of looking forward to, while it sucks that New York has been shut down completely and will be shut down, I think it's a really good opportunity to kind of wipe the slate clean and see what new shows are going to come out of this and what new artists, because people have been sitting around in their apartments. There's got to be really creative and interesting stuff happening. And I think we're going to find some really interesting and insightful and provocative work
sounds
that's
like
going to come
something
out
As
of
long
it.
as it's not a bunch of
Like the theater.
COVID musicals or something.
Oh God.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know
Did
those
you
are
guys-
coming.
No, I know they are. That's why I'm saying.
Did you guys
Well, I
see
think-
the fashion show that they did like digitally? So instead of having a model, they created like a 3D model, and she it's like it's walking in the clothes, but it's
Yeah.
digital.
It's like
it
a
was
hologram.
really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was
American
cool.
draft.
Because you can see how the fabric moves and everything still, and it's not stiff, but it looks like a real body, but it's not.
Huh.
Yes, CG,
Yeah.
CGI.
Really interesting.
I think
High tech
one.
stuff.
I wish I'd seen it.
I think one
Yeah,
of
it
the
was-
real keys that a lot of people aren't necessarily thinking about is we talk about this almost as it's an authoritarian issue, or an issue with authority, to not use a loaded word, in that, the federal or state governments can say whatever they want. Well, we're open for business, hooray!
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's actually a confidence issue. So
Oh, yeah.
you can say that the theaters are open or the
Yeah.
stores are open or whatever. And the question is, are people actually going to go?
Well, then I would ask this. I would counter that with a question of us as artists. What can we do to bring the confidence back to our art form to come and see what we do? Because as much as we'd like to say, things are going to change, there will never be another, we won't be on stage anymore, blah, blah. Theater's been around for thousands and thousands of years, and it survived everything from Vesuvius
Yeah.
to World War I and
Right.
II and the Civil War, etc. I mean, it's survived so much. I think
The old saying that live theater is the only art form that's been dying for thousands of years.
yeah. I think we're going to get back to it. And I know that, Angel, you mentioned that it would be interesting to see what people will come up with. I think that's probably going to be closer to the off-Broadway stuff, because I think the on-Broadway stuff is still, it still makes too damn much money to abandon.
You would think so, but there's a lot of shows that have already closed.
Well,
Like
sure.
they've been shuttered, like long running shows that have shuttered.
Oh, sure.
Frozen closed. Like
Yeah.
they pulled the plug on Frozen
Yeah.
on Broadway. Disney did.
Yeah.
Are you saying
Beetlejuice-
they let it go?
Oh.
Yes, they did.
I see. They went into the unknown.
That was cold, Kelly.
It was cold, yeah.
But it doesn't bother me anyway.
Oh, God. Just, Lord help us all with the puns.
Elsa.
You're just trolling him now.
Sorry, that's the only thing I know.
Well, they could.
That's the only
They
thing I
could
remember.
reopen. They could reopen in summer.
Ah,
Man,
For the first time in forever, It's
God. Holy God. So, I mean, what I was saying is that a lot of these Broadway shows that did close down for good were already slated to close down. Like Beetlejuice in particular was supposed to have their last couple of weeks of show, but then that got cut off. They were supposed to be out of there for a new,
Music Man was Sutton Foster.
well, was it
Yeah.
Sutton Foster? I thought it was Hugh Jackman.
It was Sutton Foster and
Hugh Jackman.
Wolverine.
Yeah, Hugh
So,
Jackman.
so that's the other
Jackman.
thing. Are we just going to see what we've been seeing for the last 10 years at least, which is just regurgitation of prior
Movies.
material, which is all we've really been getting in
That's what money
movies
is.
and theater. I mean, what The Music Man again? I mean, I love The Music Man; it's great, but
Right.
Jesus Christ, there are other stories that can be told.
I mean,
and-
but you do
but
have
that's
little
all we're
gems like
getting is
Hadestown.
reboots and remakes. Does this change that?
Oh yeah, there are other stories to be told, and they were all popular or semi-popular movies 20 years ago. That's the other thing Broadway does is put old movies up on stage.
I would counter though by saying that there has been a rash of really good original stuff when I say lately, I mean the last 5 years or so. You got Hamilton, which is original in its own way, definitely original, and with the way that it retells history that way. You've got Dear Evan Hansen, which is another very popular and original thing. I think people want new stuff for sure.
Be More Chill had a really good run, as weird as it was.
Yeah. I hope we don't, what I really don't want to see when it comes to the same repetitive thing, I'm tired of seeing what I like to call greatest hits shows, where it's a play or a musical set to the music of X artist.
Jukebox shows.
Jagged Little Pill.
A Bee Gees show or something, or, The Cure does their own show. Or something. It's just
now wait a second. Now that one I'd like to see. I'd love to see a musical made out of The Cure. Come on.
Let's get Danzig to do it.
That would be interesting.
That would be fun. But it reminds me of like Branson.
Enjoy the silence, Kelly. Enjoy it. Damn it.
But yeah, it reminds me of places like Branson, Missouri, where it's just like, the old artists get up there and do their greatest hits, and then they do it for, 45 minutes or 50 minutes, then go backstage and sit for another 4 hours and drink.
Jersey Boys was cute, but we don't need one for every artist that's been there.
Moving out.
I was reading an interesting article, and it was talking about that thing where it's like, in New York, the people that are coming to the theater are primarily tourists, but when you don't have tourism back in New York City, you have to do the more avant-garde stuff to keep the attention of the locals who will support the theater community.
But the locals
until it gets up and running again.
The locals can't keep them open. I mean, as many millions as there are in New York, they can't keep the doors open. That's like saying Disney World will stay open with just Floridians. I know a lot of people have been calling for that,
That's
saying
in California.
Well, they're saying that we should not let people from out of state come to Disney World or Universal or, Busch Gardens or anything. And my argument is, are you kidding? That is exactly who we need to be opening for, because they're the ones who are bringing the money.
Yeah.
Well, and it's stupid anyway, because Floridians can have the disease just as well as anybody else. So limiting it to Floridians isn't even a security thing. It's just,
there's 22
again,
million.
it's the illusion like you're talking about. It's if we limit the group, then
22 million people in the state of Florida, and you're going to tell me that we're somehow going to stay safer with just us here?
And you can't do that in Disney World, because you're going to make a small world even smaller.
How long were you sitting on that one?
It's really hard to jump in. So when I do, like, I've got a zinger ready, It's like, I gotta, like, when you guys talk about theater, you don't stop. It's just, this is what a talk is now. And I accept that. It's like when my family all talks about the education system because they're all teachers. I don't have a place in that conversation anymore, and I quietly accept that.
Well, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about role-playing games and not having a girlfriend, or?
I mean, I'm always thinking about those things.
So, James, what was the most recent? Don't
show us.
Okay, the idea was to face the camera down so it looked like I left, but then I realized it flashed everyone my crotch.
As usual, James tried to do something and it ended up creepy.
Yeah. Actually, I got a funny story about that. I was in a racetrack, and you guys know how, like, I have this very aggressive sense of humor where it seems like I'm attacking you.
No.
Hold on. I have to say this for our viewers. A racetrack, for those of you that are outside of Florida, racetrack is a gas station down here in Florida.
I'm not gambling.
Convenience store, yeah.
So I'm in the racetrack, and I see one of my coworkers walk by, and I wave to her, and she just rolls her eyes because, we mess with each other. And I'm like, really? I wave at you, and that's what you give me? And then she just walks out of the racetrack, leaving everyone in the racetrack just thinking that I'm some creep yelling at young women. I've never been happier to be wearing a mask, incidentally.
Okay. I got one like that. I was working the other day, and all of my coworkers are wearing masks, and this girl went on her break, and she was in the store talking to some people, but I thought were her friends, and like I walked up to her and I was like, hey, you ready to come back from your break in a couple minutes? And she just looked at me, and it was then that I realized that she wasn't the girl who worked there.
Oh, no!
You're
recruiting.
the same hair, the same like black outfit, black sweater with jeans, and like a gold necklace that said her name on it.
Well,
And like I actually looked and like read the name, and I was like, oh.
My sister,
Louisa, you do work in retail in the mall.
Yeah, it was like
Everybody looks
you had to
exactly the
clock in
same.
for your shift, and yeah, it wasn't her. It was really awkward.
Oh,
It's
that's
just like
funny.
all the Gap employees were the same person when I was in high school. I don't even know if they have Gap still. I don't know, but
Well, they looked the same. They had the same like outfit on. They had the same like necklace, and until I read the necklace, I realized it wasn't her.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I wonder how often that happens nowadays when if you get into a group of people like Walmart or something and you bring some family members with you and you're like, oh shit, they went around the corner, and then you just randomly walk up to somebody and you're like, where have you been? And they're like, what?
that stuff was happening to me before like the mask thing. Like if a coworker changes their hairstyle, I don't know who they are anymore.
I have that problem with people on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People, I'll see somebody in a show and somebody will be like, oh, this is so-and-so. And I'll be like, who's that? And they'll be like, they was in this. I'm like, no, that's not the same person. His hair is different.
Oh, I got one. I got one better. I saw a picture of one of my students because my boosters have been delivering like 8th grade gifts to my theater students. I've taught this girl for 3 years. I saw her picture and had no idea who she was because I haven't seen her since February.
Wow.
And then I felt like the worst teacher ever.
Wow.
My sister once confused a guy at a bar with her now husband. She walked up behind him and like thinking, oh, I'll surprise him. She hugged him and then kissed him on the back of the head. And then when he turned over, it was some completely different guy.
I've had that happen
Ricky
to
never
me.
let her forget it.
I've had that happen to me before because under this hat, I have no hair. I'm bald.
Yeah.
And from behind, all large bald men are the same, apparently.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm standing, it was one of the parks. I can't remember if it was Disney or Universal or something like that. I was just standing there, and some lady comes up behind me and slips her arms around my waist. And I just went, what the? That's not Dawn. And I turn and look, and she's like, oh! Her reaction was bigger than mine, and I'm the one who got violated. And she just goes, oh! Like that. I'm like, what happened? What is it?
Everyone else around you, right? Like you're the person attacking her.
Yeah, I know, right? God, but yeah, it was hilarious. She's like, I'm so sorry. It was Epcot. I think it was Epcot because we were standing at the World Showcase. And I'm just like, whoa. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, well, I'm fine. You didn't hurt me or anything. I'm fine. And she's just like breaking down, like, I'll buy you a churro or something. I'm like, yeah, my fat ass needs more food, right?
I'm like, you betcha you'll buy me a churro.
An emotional scar churro.
I was delivering food to a pet hospital place, and I saw this guy walking a peculiar dog, and I asked, "Oh, well, that's a cute dog. What breed is it?" And he's like, "Goat."
It was a goat?
It was a goat.
Nice.
I wasn't expecting a goat to be there. I don't know.
James, how the hell do you mistake a goat for a dog?
I don't know. It looked young. It didn't have its horns. Shut up.
It was small. Yeah.
You know how some dogs
the udders didn't give it away at all.
It was being very
I was like, oh, its eyes are kind of weird. But, I don't want to insult this messed up looking dog.
You would be, quite possibly, I think, the worst satanic cultist in the world because you were supposed to bring the goat. This is a goddamn pug. What is this?
Oh, they're going to be so upset. Like, everyone's just offended that we're sacrificing a dog today. Sorry it wasn't a goat. Hey, we love dogs. We're Satanists, not monsters.
We're just, we worship demons, but we ourselves are not demons.
Yeah. We're not monsters.
God.
Man's best friend. That's why we do it with goats, man.
God, that's funny.
It's interesting. The recognition thing. I had one. There was a regular patron at one of the community theaters that I did a lot of shows at. And every time she would come up to me in the receiving line afterwards, she'd remind me that I look like her dead brother.
Oh.
Like, you know who you look like? My dead brother. You look exactly like him.
Not
this was like 3 or 4 different times. And I'd be like, what do you say to that? Do you say thank you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Handsome guy.
Before or after he died?
Oh, you mean
How'd he die?
right now?
That's what you do.
One of my
You go
instructors.
cool. How'd he die?
One of my instructors was a dancer for the Steve Martin movie Pennies from Heaven.
Right.
And they have these big Busby Berkeley numbers where they have all these dozens of dancers. They're all wearing the same dress. They're all wearing the same wig. They're all wearing the same hat. And she said that they would just walk up to each other and go, Brenda, is that you?
I imagine that's what any Red Hat Society meeting at Perkins looks like.
Yeah.
Is that you, Ethel? I can't tell with that hat on.
I'm wearing the red hat.
Those cataracts.
Here, sing this hymn, and I can recognize you by your church singing. Well, I think what I'd like to do now is I'd like to crack open the box again, and we'll do a couple more of these scenarios versus each other here, just to kind of close it out, just to have a little fun here. So let's get started. I'll just grab two randoms here, and we'll throw that back in the pile here. And all right, so here it is. All right, we'll this is kind of a group one. We'll just call it that. Why not? You can either A, change your name to Captain Assface legally, or live in a McDonald's playhouse with Ronald McDonald as your roommate.
I feel like the Ronald McDonald thing comes up more often than we'd like it to.
Yeah?
I think I've heard that one before. But
Oh,
that's
okay.
Big
I
part
think
of
equally
everyone's
Captain
life.
Assface.
We'll do a different one then. How about that? We'll go with we'll just randomly. There we go. All right, here we go. Oh, this should be good. This should be a good one. All right, here's two different scenarios. You can either A, work as a human piñata, que bien, or relive middle school.
Okay, so I didn't
Yeah,
like
there's not even a question there. Pinata, 100% pinata.
Really?
No, here's the thing. You're all
Middle
thinking
school
that-
sucked. High school was great. Middle school, no.
No, Eric,
Never.
You're thinking that human piñata is people string you up and beat you with a stick. The first part is they stick candy up your ass. So I'm going with middle school.
No, the candy up the ass is the good part.
Well, I don't know how your middle school went, but candy up the ass seems pretty standard. I don't know.
Similar.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's basically middle school right there.
Yeah.
Don't you
Yeah,
call
what's
everybody a
the difference?
candy ass in middle school?
Yeah, getting beat with a stick. Yeah, that's middle school. That's pretty much it.
I made really good friends in middle school, and I spent all day either drawing or reading. So, I'm
Yeah.
Well, you're
Nice.
getting
I don't
close
know,
to the end,
ladies,
so-
like Louisa and Sarah, like being a middle school girl though, like it's a whole different thing. I'm just
It's
saying.
a whole cringe scenario.
I never left middle school. I teach middle school. I don't want to be a middle school kid. Well, okay, here's the question. Is it middle school now or middle school when I was in middle school?
Middle school, relive it. You have to relive
Yeah.
it, not currently
The
live it.
same middle
Relive.
school you went through.
Yeah.
And my
I went
middle
to two
schooler,
different middle
like,
schools. It was not pleasant.
I was gonna say, do I get to know all the things I know now?
Oh.
Yeah,
I say why not? Yeah, I see you getting
Well, in
back
that
to relive
case,
it.
I'd go back to middle school and fuck some people up.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. See, I didn't have that bad of an experience in middle school, quite
Oh,
honestly.
middle school was
Oh.
horrible.
Huh.
Absolutely horrible.
I
Once I got
moved-
to high
okay.
school, everything worked out. But
Yeah.
for some reason, middle school.
I mean, middle school maybe it was really cringy, but I still had a future. You know, I had people thought I was going places.
You
You
had
know,
hope.
like,
You had
that'd
hope.
be fun.
Bless your heart. You had hope back in the day
Hope.
there. Oh my God.
Oh.
I didn't have a
Dude, I was the
problem.
nerdiest little nerd that ever nerded in middle school.
Yeah.
It was
Really?
so bad. And I lived in Hawaii. I had no excuse.
Okay, was there anybody here who wasn't the nerdiest little nerd in middle school?
I was a
What?
nerdy.
I imagine Kelly as TJ Detweiler in middle school, just
Who's TJ
I just
Detweiler?
figured you were the
slightly
class clown.
cool.
Oh.
He was like the leader of the gang in recess.
Oh,
I was a Gretchen, totally.
I don't know what that is. I never watched the show. I don't know
He was
anything about
always
it.
coming up with schemes and
I played I played football. I didn't do theater in those years. I was a child actor, then I stopped doing it for a long time, and then got back into it in high school. But during middle school, I played football. I was just an average dude. I just played. I was just a guy.
Well,
and
yeah, I mean, I played basketball in high school and stuff like that. But middle school was just a whole different thing. It was
Huh.
like.
So I had a messed up middle school because when I got to 6th grade, I was in Canada, and from there they told me I was going to high school. But I moved down here, and no, you have to go to middle school where it's 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. So I get put into 7th grade where everybody all knows each other from 6th grade. And I've already tried out all the different avenues of things, and they just plot me in whatever as a 7th grader. So I know nobody, and it's 2 years of adjusting to a whole new place and everything like that, curriculum, catching up. I failed a lot of classes the first semester, and I was in like a buddy system with my science teacher, and I got to be what's it called, the ball grabber or whatever.
Wait, your teacher made you grab his balls? Wait.
Whoa.
No, what's equipment? No, it was a lady teacher. And
you had to grab the ladies' balls?
Basketball team, and I was like coach's assistant for a year or something.
Like a ball fetcher, maybe?
I don't know. I just stood there.
Ball girl.
Ball handler. Welcome to America. This is what we do to Canadians when they show up. You got to handle our balls.
Yeah.
Now, Sarah, I feel that I also moved between 6th and 7th grade. I moved from Virginia to Hawaii.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was the only redhead in my entire school. They thought and in Hawaii, their volcano goddess is always portrayed as a pale redhead. And so legit people would kind of look at me like a little weary.
Oh wow.
Whoa, you got you got worshipped like C-3PO and Return of the Jedi?
I was going to say, so dude,
no,
you
people would
use
just
that,
avoid me. I
use
got
that
called
to your
Howley a lot.
advantage.
Yeah.
Don't look at me like that or I'll blow, man.
I had a little bit of fun with that, honestly.
Or just say, it's me, Bette Midler, I'm back.
There you go. Just point at the Wendy's sign and be like,
I just read like a lot of Twilight.
Oh.
Wow. You're showing your age. Twilight. Jesus God.
Twilight.
I don't even know what the hell was popular
when I read that.
Yeah. I don't even know what was popular for reading material when I was in junior high, which was the late 80s to early 90s.
I read Sweet Valley High, man. Woo.
Yeah.
I was going to say, shit. In middle school, like, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret was a Judy Blume stuff, right?
Oh my gosh.
See, that was over me.
No,
I was reading John Grisham in middle school. I was that nerd.
Wow.
Robert Ludlum.
Ray Bradbury.
Yeah, I can see that.
I read a lot of Ray Bradbury and Doc Savage.
Ray Bradbury, yeah.
I decided in 8th grade that I was going to read the classics, and I tried to read Hunchback of Notre Dame in 8th grade and didn't understand a fucking thing.
Because it was in French.
The first F word
Victor
of our
Hugo.
entire episode comes from Angel. Really?
Sign of the Apocalypse.
Now I got to put the NSFW on here again.
I went right from like elementary school, the Boxcar Children, directly to like Twilight, and like immediately got my period. That's how that worked.
8th grade.
Yeah.
Did they at least show you the film Am I Normal?
You go.
I gotta figure that film was still around, right? I mean, it started in the 50s. They showed it to us in the 80s. It must have still been around, right? Am I Normal?
I had no sex education classes in school.
You're kidding.
I missed it they were about to do it probably in Canada, and they had already done it when I got here, so I just missed it.
6th grade,
Luckily,
yeah.
my mom's a doctor.
You fell between the cracks.
They don't do it in Canada. You guys hatch from eggs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Actually, what happens is a farmer goes out into the field. A farmer goes out and taps a maple tree and then pours you into a bucket, and you form out of pure maple syrup. And then they give you a hockey stick and send you on your way.
Well, then they say, gotta come out now.
Yeah, and on your 12th birthday, they send you out into the wilderness where you gotta find a moose and make friends. And if you make it back with the moose, then you're accepted back into the tribe.
Yeah!
Hey.
Did you find your moose?
Nothing but maple leaves.
Did you find your moose, Sarah?
Yeah, I found my moose.
Oh, good.
Hey.
See, in North Dakota, we had to be sent out to go and find buffalo, is what it was. We had to go find bison, and then bring one back, and then we'd all cook it.
That's because North Dakota is just little Canada.
It is. It is little Canada. I mean, let's be honest here. I was raised on Canadian Sesame Street, so yeah. Before I got to kindergarten, I had to be corrected by my teacher because I kept calling it the letter Z. It wasn't Z. It was Z. What?
Yeah, in Florida, you just learn the intricacies of alligator wrestling.
Alligator wrestling in Florida, really?
Well, actually, it was part of the employment handbook. Like, if you, I remember in high school, like reading through it and the rules for underage working, and like they had a whole section in there about alligator wrangling.
God almighty. You know, when I was on the radio years ago, we used to have a thing on the radio called Florida or Germany. And we would give it was on the local radio station. They would tell one story and then tell a second story. And then you had to figure out whether the story happened in Germany or in Florida. Nobody could tell because they're both messed up as hell. And so you never knew if it came from Florida or not. So that was always funny to see that on the morning or hear that on the morning show.
Sure, I bet
that they did there on the other station. So yeah, funny shit. So, all right, what do you say we do one more here and then we'll call her a night, huh?
Sure.
Right.
One more situation here and we'll find out here. Oh, that is definitely not gonna. I'm not gonna say that.
Okay, why don't you say it and then we just don't do it because I want to know.
No, because it involves words that I don't want to say to everyone here. So
all right, tell me after the show.
We'll fix it in post.
Here we go. This should be funny. All right. Here are your scenarios. A, you have to either tell every kid that you meet that Santa isn't real.
Oh.
Or everyone you have ever had sex with automatically switches teams.
That's cool.
Well, why do I care what they do now?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's my feeling on the matter.
But that would include your current partner, wouldn't it?
Yep.
What current partner?
Currently would, yeah. Now, I would have to choose the latter to have everybody switch teams because, and big reveal for the kids watching, I was Santa Claus for years at Busch Gardens. And I could not do that to kids because they were so... They love. So, I mean, for crying out loud, they love Santa so much that I couldn't break their little hearts and let them, because they thought I was absolutely him. They'd come and sit on my lap and tell me everything about their lives going on. I have a dog, and my dog's name is Buster, and he likes to run, and I want to get a train, and blah, 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 and what have you. And they absolutely thought I was real. So now that I've been on the other end of that, of being the Santa Claus, I couldn't possibly break kids' hearts like that. I just couldn't. Yeah. So I would have to go with the other one. Everybody switching teams.
Yeah. I mean, you do keep the blackmail list, though, right, Kelly? About the things those kids told you about their parents. You have that list.
Fun fact: as Santa Claus, I listened to none of it. No, I listened. I just wasn't memorizing anything. I would just give a look over to their parents if they're sitting, especially if they ask for something like ridiculously expensive. You know, I want a new laptop or something, and I would just kind of, you know, with the beard on and everything, I just kind of turn and look at the mom, just like, that's on you because I'm not promising anything.
So basically, what you're saying is you're going to choose all the world's children believing in Santa Claus over continuing to stay with your fiance.
You know what? I think she'd understand because I think she would yell at me if she found out that I was telling kids there is no Santa Claus. I think she would be like, how could you? You're not even that attractive anyway, so I don't mind. Just choose the other.
Solid Don voice, by the way.
Yeah.
I will say this. They're in the room with me right now, but both of them were very impressed that you knew their names.
Oh, yes. When they came to see Santa Claus at Busch Gardens, when they came to see.
Oh.
And I saw them coming up. I thought I'd use their names right there in front of them. I've done that to other people's kids too.
Yeah.
It's
a fun moment. It really is. I mean, being Santa Claus is just, to me, it was a paying gig at first. It was just, they told me, hey, you're gonna be Santa Claus, because I was a different kind of Santa Claus, because we had the one that was in the Coca-Cola house, and he was the one who really sat down with the kids. I was the singing, dancing one that was in the stage show, but then we always had kids after the show was over, and they would sit down on the lap and the whole thing like that. And before all that, Santa Claus was, whatever. I had been a Santa Claus in a mall back when I was like 21. I did it for one season, hated every minute of it, and so I decided, whatever, I'm never doing this again. But then after doing it for Bush, it was amazing, because these, maybe it's because I was older, maybe that I wasn't a 21-year-old kid anymore, but then I was just thinking about it like, I'm really making this real for these kids. And so I got a completely different attitude about the whole Santa Claus thing, because I always thought to myself, if I have kids, I'm not gonna make them believe in Santa Claus. That's stupid. And now I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna play the Santa Claus thing up as much as I can for as long as they'll believe it, because I think it'll be just fun. I've done it for a long time now, or I used to do it for a long time until they cut the show. But I just
have your
couldn't
little nieces and nephews seen you in costume, and do they recognize you in the Santa costume?
No, they've never seen me, because they live in North Dakota, so they didn't come down.
No, pictures or anything.
No, I'm hard to recognize in that suit, even for people who know me, adults who know me, can't tell that it's me, because I'm wearing little gold glasses. I've got the rouge on the face, and then the beard is all the way up to that, and then the hat is pulled all the way down. So really, all you're seeing is. Yeah.
You can't recognize you. You're acting like Santa Claus. You're not acting like a complete fucking asshole.
Yeah, James. Sorry that your life is going that way. God, man. No. I changed the voice to be Santa Claus and stuff. So I don't think that any kids that I know would recognize me at all in that, because even people that know me personally, they don't know that it's me until they get up close and they're like, oh, hey, okay, it's you.
Yeah, and Kelly's been in the lineup where they're trying to recognize him.
Yeah, all the Santa Clauses in the country, we all had to get in a big line, and because somebody committed a murder. And
I've been in the lineup,
sign you up for SantaCon.
SantaCon? No, I've never been. No, I've never even. Isn't that in Vegas?
QualsCon.
Is that like a fetish convention where everyone's just asking each other to sit on each other's laps?
Yuck.
I thought that was Saturday night for you.
Yeah.
How am I going to have a con every Saturday night during a pandemic, Eric? Think before you speak.
We can't see all the dolls that you have set up on your desk in front of you, so I imagine you have a con every weekend.
Literally in the background, there's a giant Batman doll, and you're gonna throw that at me.
Yeah.
Throw that at me. Okay, that's fair. I think you're projecting a little.
Oh, well. All right, everybody. I think we're going to go ahead and call this one a night. I want to thank you all so much for being a part of this. And just a quick reminder to everybody, our next show, our live remote show, if you will, Live from Exile is what it's called. 9 NUMB Live from Exile is going to be June 12th at 8 p.m. It's going to be on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live as well. Keep your eyes peeled to our Facebook page for that. We'll make an announcement as well. I'll try and maybe get a commercial going here on YouTube as well. And anyway, so we'll be doing some live improv then, and we hope to see everybody come out and sit at their houses and enjoy some comedy. So, again, thank you to all the 9 numbers that are here. This is episode 3. We will see you guys again for our next episode, and have yourselves a fantastic evening. All right?